There are copies back there. I have one here. A copy of the budget. Do you all want one? There's.
Which one is the one that you just sent?
Yes.
Yes, I would look at.
Oh, it's under your computer.
Oh, it's this one.
Here.
The one you just sent out?
Yes.
The same thing.
Okay.
We're in session, have a clerk call the roll.
Yes, sir. Molly Ansbine,
Here.
Alex Bissett, Dan Gritsko,
Here.
Ron Smith,
Here.
Bill Heisen,
Here.
Walter Townsend,
Here.
Roger Whitley.
Here.
Thank you.
We have Alex.
I haven't heard from him.
Okay. Anyhow, those that wish to do, they stand and pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, we all know the primary purpose of this discussion meeting is to talk about the budget and try to get a version that we can leave here tonight with that will be presented at a public hearing a few weeks down the road. Since this is the agenda that was published, are there any additions or corrections to the agenda?
No, sir.
There's a motion that the agenda be approved as presented. So moved. Second. Good. And is there anyone in the audience that wishes to speak on any item other than the budget? Have the opportunity of the public hearing. So I guess let's right down to the end real fast, which is always good. We'll turn it over to the town administrator.
All right. Thank you. So I sent this out a little while ago. This is an updated version from what I provided on Friday. I've continued to whittle away the numbers. I know we had a meeting earlier this afternoon at 2, talking directly with Lumens, which is our internet provider, which their bill is quite substantial. We are working on cutting that bill in half. Right now, it's I think it's about $4,000 or $5,000 a month. And so it ends up, and this is the one why we've really been trying to get this contract changed. It'll end up for a year, it'll be $25,000 for the existing contract that was signed. And unfortunately, when the contract, when anything was changed with the contract, it would restart the time for the contract once again. So I think if they delete some of the lines that we talked about that were identified earlier, I think we have a savings of $4,500, a little over $4,500. Yes. And then, well, that's what I said is the contract, every time it gets redone, it changes. And so currently, I think there are 3 different contracts that have 3 different times that they,
Or are they on different things?
they're on different items. I don't know if I wasn't really going to go into that. I have a document that Charlie Brown and helps talk to Lumens today, along with the chief and Sergeant Ball. 4 of us talked with Lumens today, and we've asked them to get back with us within 10 days as to what their going to be willing to change or update in their contract.
Curious, is it like over the next 4 years or the next 5 years?
Yes, yes,
Yes, and yes.
yes, and yes. Yeah, unfortunately, I mean, it was something, for example, that they said that we had, what was it, 21 phone lines? And I said, we don't even have 21 employees here, so why would we need 21 phone lines? Today with the police department indicated that they want one phone and one fax, and that, I said, that's exactly what we need. That's all we need. We don't need,
Yeah.
the other
Void.
lines that we have. Anyway, so, what are some other changes? I look back, I know, Molly, you had talked about had questions last time about the, the FICA. So I looked at that. Some of the numbers actually increased and some of the numbers decreased. I also looked at insurance. I know that's, some council members had questioned, like, how did insurance actually go down? Because none of us have ever really seen insurance go down. I looked at that again. We talked about the vehicle gas and the diesel, increasing in price.
So when you looked at that again, the insurance, did you just find that there weren't as many people on the insurance or?
And, we went back and found exact, data of what we've been paying over the past, year. And so that number is exact in here. I think when we were looking at it, actually, Alex and I and Whitney, was that 2 days ago or yesterday? I lose track, but anyway, it seemed like it was, a pretty high number. In this previous budget, it was, broken out by in admin
Departments.
and then the police department and then the public works. So those numbers are correct. In that.
Did it go up or down?
No, it's,
It's been staying the same basically since 2019, baseball.
yeah, it stayed the same, but I did put in a little bit of a buffer for
In case it
anticipated
does.
increase.
Okay.
And I had, also reached out to Albemarle County, just to verify. One, I reached out to Mr. Pruitt last week to ask him, when we could anticipate receiving the $87,000 for the levy system. And then he had also said in that meeting with all of us, the 22,000. I have not heard anything back from him.
Okay, so we don't have.
Correct.
No,
We
me.
take it out or just? leave it?
No, it's still in there.
So.
And then, in the revenues, the Albemarle County sales tax distribution, I also wanted to follow up with that because a previous budget item showed, I think, 44,000, and I wanted to verify that number,
44,000.
44,000. And I have not heard back from them regarding that.
I thought you said it was the county sales tax distribution. Was it something different?
No, it's,
It just says 4,000.
yeah, there's one, if you look on, revenue, under the section on the left, it's under, from the state, and it shows sales tax, and it shows 4,400.
Oh,
So that's what I was wanting to,
Yeah.
or 44,000. So
Now you guys are.
that's what I was trying to verify.
and that increased in your estimation.
To 52.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about that. I have nothing to compare them to.
Also, would you like
We,
your?
start getting some of this money that's owed us, then we're going to pay a lot to get it.
Right.
We'll see the revenue, it will be a bit, quite a bit more than is projected. So that's one thing to keep in mind. It'd be more than 25.
So also, I'll just point out, I used the numbers that were on the approved budget from last year. Total revenues showing 801,250, and then the expenditures were 884,258, which showed a deficit of 83,000. And I was trying to understand how that budget was approved. And I think I wrote in an email that I found on the website from 6/16/2025. And then there was another meeting on 6/23/2025 that were meetings just for the budget. And they talked about the deficit. And then you found minutes today.
No minutes. There are no minutes posted from that. So I just added it to my big long list of a whole of minutes. But I reviewed the video and basically it said that
100,000.
yeah, that that council was willing to set aside $100,000 from the Caldwell Fund to meet those deficits.
So I recall, it was because of the levee repair.
Yep, levy and then a mower repair.
Yeah, the mower drama, but the levee repair was what the big one was, and the mayor, okay, so I'm gonna try and recall this. Came up with the idea that we would pursue other options, and if we had to, we would dip into that Caldwell Fund.
Right, but it was just
Yeah,
reserved.
and we all agreed we liked that idea, see how it rolled, and that's why we had, as I recall, we were in the black, other than
That levy, yep.
that loosey goosey levy set.
That's what I found too.
Am I recalling it?
That's correct, and then again, I'm getting money from the county.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we made that decision, it was like, we don't, like all the other decisions with the Caldwell Fund, we borrowed it, we put it back at some point. And also, if we, it may not happen.
Right, it was just resolved. You guys had a resolution that you could use it if needed.
If we need it.
Mhm.
Right.
That's what I found.
Caldwell Fund.
Yes,
And
sir.
it went on to say that you all would meet again to approve any disbursements
Yeah.
of the money.
Right, yeah.
But then there was some verbal discussion from the assistant treasurer that bumped the number up to total revenues being 901,250, and that was including, that
This
was adding
hypothetical
into
100,000.
the $100,000. So, which would make you not be $83,000 short, but it would, anyway.
But that was never spent, it was never pulled out of the Caldwell Fund, so it's almost like a wash
Okay,
to me.
all right, so, what I came up with, the revenues for proposed this year is 874,593. And the expenditures are 879,803, and the difference being $5,200.
So what we will want to do tonight is find a way to drop 5,000 in the budget. So that's good to know what we're starting from in terms of the revenue and also in terms of the expenditure. Steve, just a question for you. Are your expenditures everything you need in here? Is it correct?
Mr. Richcote, Elizabeth and I sat down, met this morning, spoke about police department budget, and I think we shaved almost $6,000 out of the police department budget. It'll fund everything that we need. Minus any catastrophic failures on equipment, but we should be okay. Some of the numbers have increased, but some of the numbers decreased as well.
Okay, good. You have what you need. That's the main thing.
Yes, sir.
Councilor Litchfield, as Mayor Smith said earlier, one of the key things to getting the budget to work would be definitely the enforcement of taxes for my business and local stuff, if we could step up on that and, I believe we could possibly make it work. The other thing is, it's been the 250th year of celebration USA or whatever. I believe we may see a little bit of a increase in money coming into the town because some of our vendors are having to pay up front. And every little bit counts. So
Well, if that's true, we could project revenue a little higher if that were, and that's one of the ways to go is if.
Right. With the fourth being on a Saturday, the regular farmer's market is working, but Kathy has rented spaces around the out perimeter for people that want to come in for one day.
Mhm.
And they're paying the regular fee or they pay.
So if they're, I'm not sure if anyone who's coming through our office as a vendor, the 4th of July location that I give them, for that one day is $125 vendor fee. So assuming that that is what Kathy's charging those vendors as well, then that would be it. But she's not going to charge her regular, farmers, right, yeah, they're already paid up.
People that come.
But the extra should be $125 a vendor.
We have 5 vendors.
Yeah.
the other question, Councilor Goodker, we talked about finding ways to cut back, on. On the third page, under administration, where there's, we have the town attorney. And we have proposed 19.5 for the cost of the attorney. And right below it, it says town attorney litigation. What is that extra 500 for? I mean, are we paying?
So.
For litigation.
I think it might be, there are times where he has to file a thing or.
I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry, 1,700, yeah. Now, with that being said, if it is 1,700, if the town did decide to go with a outside fund to help on the collection of taxes, would that 1,700 be applied to that, or would that have to be a complete addition?
It would be additional, unless you all decide to do something else. I mean, that number for the town attorney is 19.5. That's what he currently makes. And as far as the litigation, it's my understanding that's if, we have to cover something else. He's, as long as I've been here, he's never written any letter. They're letters that I write to send for collections.
So in the previous, there's a line item in 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. It's a standard line item that we've had for $2,000 in previous budgets, or sometimes it's been higher. I think it doesn't refer to his money, it just refers to there are times where there's litigation that we have to pay for these. So it's always been something we budgeted. The lowest we budgeted once it's 2,000. That's the lowest we've budgeted. I think this budget has some.
So kind of like
But for the
retainer.
collections though, that he alluded to a couple weeks ago, and we've talked about, at a minimum, I believe it's $20,000 is what, those types of companies charge to collect taxes.
The TACS software.
So I know he recommended a particular company, a couple weeks ago to us.
Elizabeth, did Mr. Bowling come up with this dropping at $300, that particular one? The litigation, because it's always.
No.
That's
No.
just something you.
Yes, yep.
Yeah, I would say you shouldn't drop that. I think you probably, just because we've always done it at 2,000 and it's been higher. It's, yeah, that relates to.
Cut back that add-on.
What's that?
We're trying to cut back that
I know,
add-on.
Right.
it's not based on him, her talking to the.
I know.
Right, to the lawyer, or the senator. So. If you look at the numbers, going back to any other budgets. You made a case, and I think it's a good case to say our revenue is gonna be 5 or 10,000 higher
Mhm.
if we can show that we think in a certain area that's true. I just simply want to say in good faith, we balance it. The good thing is we're close, so that's a good thing. We've over several weeks, we've come a long way, so we're close. We just need to close to the.
Well, I don't think we should do that with one line item.
Right, that's right, we need both of them, but.
The other thing we need to take in consideration, I know we're looking at the numbers and everything, and so. As of this point, I guess we could have somewhat fairly. This year, we could have fairly decent close numbers, but we can't compare it to the last year's numbers. And so my suggestion is being close as we are, we can always go ahead and pass what we have. We do have an emergency backup fund if for some odd reason we come a little bit left, but I don't think that's gonna happen. I think we'll do okay, but and as I've suggested to some of the other council members is once we pass this, we're gonna need to look at this budget again on a quarterly fashion instead of a year. So for the first 3 months, of course, the town administrator will give us a little financial thing of where we are. But I feel like we should look at the new budget at a quarterly intervention every 3 months. And then next year, if we're in better standing, we can do it 6 months or a year.
Say, well, and this is no reflection on the town administrator, because she had used this program that she has. Like the previous, since I've been here, the financial report for the month had everything and the percentage of your
Budget.
what was projected and what's been spent.
Mhm.
So if it, we're coming up towards May and the police department spent 90% of their, it was saying they spent 90% of their budget.
Mhm.
If you can, that would make everybody happy if we could go back to a program like that. Bill's probably got a copy of it somewhere, because he's got some of the older forms there. But every line item had
The
whether we
percentage.
just spent where we were on, may not have spent anything. So it gave you a little bit.
Well, if we were to do that, then going at a quarterly fashion, if we could find out, let's say the first quarter, we say, okay, well, you know what? This right here is, it would allow us to make changes and adjustment in an earlier spot instead of waiting to the last minute and saying, oh, shoot, we're gonna be blown out. We're gonna have to dip into this fund. So by dealing with it quarterly for this next following year, I think it'll help us stay ahead of the game until we can get our feet back on solid ground. So yeah, it's not a bad idea, the percentage wise to see where you're at. I mean, I can agree with that. It's just that I do feel like we need to this budget here needs to be, it's close, 5,000, a whole lot closer than it was the year before, I believe.
Well, I have to say the missing figures that we don't have are one of the more important aspects of budget for me. I don't know about you, but I feel like I don't know what we've been doing and what we've been spending money on and what we're over budget on and what we're under budget on.
But some of these missing figures may be some of the numbers that we just can't verify. And we just can't throw a bogus number up there. So we'll let off there.
Exactly sure what happened is there was some sort of bomb that went off on the computer that all of these figures were on or something.
They
like
were
that.
they were never entered into the system. And I've said that since day one that we have QuickBooks. Apparently we had the most expensive package in QuickBooks, but the previous town clerk did not enter the information to keep track of the accounts. All she did, it seems like, is print the checks, which that's what QuickBooks did, is printed beautiful checks, but nothing was ever reconciled. And that's what We've been working with that accounting company and they'll work on it and then send us a batch. And it's been hundreds of transactions that have no information other than the number, whether it was a deposit or if it was an expense.
So they wrote checks,
Right.
they've been able to kind of bring that into the accounting side of it.
Well, that,
By hand,
Okay.
each of us have been researching each of those checks and or, not deposits, withdrawal, any of these charges.
Okay.
And so then we're going back and trying to say, oh, well, that was a farmer's market vendor paying their fee. And then I'm going in there physically and or Elizabeth's going, oh, this digi-ticket thing is the police chief. So we're having to go through and actually put each of those line items in.
It's been a long time. I think that we could have had somebody come in here and enter that information. And that's in the past, but I can't feel good about these numbers. This is the first time I've been doing budget with this group. I don't know how they did last year. I don't know how these expenses laid out last year. I think we're missing a big piece of this. And I know you're saying your hands are tied because the accounting is just completely out of control and terrible and in terrible shape. But, I just can't believe how long this is taking. And I would like to have more information, but you don't have it. So I'm just giving my objections to this budget.
But the information is provided us, the information is provided to us, and I do what you're saying, whatever, for what you're saying. My question is, how do you enter something if you don't know what it's for?
Right. It's
So, I
taking
mean,
research.
If I got, let's say, $3,000 check written out to such and such. Okay, well, I know what it's written out to, but I don't know what it's for, so I can't enter that in if I don't know what it's for. And that's where I went.
That big, Walter, it's like if we get a check from Army Corps of Engineers, what do you think?
I can't make assumptions, it has to be a paper trail to it, all I'm simply getting, the point I'm trying to make is, we can't enter the information
And
if
if
we
you're
don't know what
running
it is.
checks, you're running them off of invoices. So.
Ideally,
the invoices
right.
tell you
The
what
invoice
it's
sometimes tells you, right, so
for.
that.
It does sometimes.
Yeah, ideally, right. Sometimes a company has a very beautiful invoice and and like the check has the invoice number written on it and I'm able to side by side give you and it says right on there.
Okay, give us what you got.
Right, that's what
That's
I'm
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Because I'd like to see these transactions. I'd like to know how bad it is.
Right.
Or.
Well, the
you
bank
can access
statements
the
have been-
data. Which I.
no, that's,
I am complete, I don't have to do anything there, but if I could.
I have provided the bank statements for you to both Old Dominion National Bank and Truist. I understand.
Yes.
And LGIP, the two accounts, the Caldwell Fund and the savings account, I've provided everyone those documents as well.
I think if I want.
You're asking for information that is not, it is not complete yet.
If you want to know how much money, yeah, you would add up your LGIP document that we provide plus the tops of each of those statements
That's with me. I appreciate it.
well, right, but I'm just telling you, that's exactly how it would be.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know, when I started in July of last year, we found documents, we found statements that had not been paid for months, if not years,
Okay.
that we worked, and I'm still working on reconciling that information. I know we've been working since that day to make these payments. I mean, we had bills that were in collections. So it's not just a wave, of a wand and this information is done. I was sharing with the mayor earlier today when he came in that I got an email the other day from some state agency that are federal that
About a grant.
we have a grant information that's done that apparently was supposed to have been updated yearly.
years.
And it has to be updated, I think, for 5 years after the grant ends. I have no idea what it's for. So I'm on a call on Thursday to find out what we need to do. But I'm saying that to say that that is the state of things when I started here.
Okay, I understand it was very, very hard.
And
I'm
it
just
continues to be
trying
that way.
Yeah, it's like a daily, we're getting
I'm
that.
just trying to say that I do want to interject just a little bit and say that you spend a lot of your time sending emails that are epic. Pages and pages of information. You've been constantly preoccupied with FOIA complaints and FOIA, are you compliant with FOIA? I don't know where you get the time to do all of that, but I'm saying that our priority was getting the finances straight. And that did not seem to be your priority. I know that I have tons of emails from you where you were preoccupied with anything other than the finances. So whereas that was your job and you wanted to pursue that, that's fine, except for that was not our priority.
Well,
And
I
so when
disagree.
You're talking about been working on all of that. I don't think that adds up to what I am seeing. And so I'm saying, it's okay if you didn't work on it every day, but you can't say that you've been working on it hard this whole entire time. I just think, I'm just saying it like it is.
Okay, that is your interpretation, but let me say, FOIA,
Recognize you, and you as her boss.
No, there's an administrator has the floor.
FOIA is not optional. You know that. You took the classes, right? FOIA is not optional. When someone asks for information, would you let me finish, please? Would you let me finish, please?
Yes, now I do.
So FOIA is not optional. When someone sends a request, as you know, there's a finite number of days that you have to respond. So we have to do that, or else the town would get in trouble. Or if it's individual council members don't respond like they should in a certain amount of time, as Mr. Bowling has pointed out, that individual council member becomes responsible for paying a fine if that's how it goes. I actually detest FOIA. They are a big time, sponge that soak up a lot of my time. But for you to say that, that I'm just out there doing FOIA stuff and I'm like really obsessed with it, I disagree with that.
And do about FOIA before I even became a town councilor.
Well, great. Then we can go back to that. You ignored FOIA back then too, when you were on the planning commission.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Yes, I do.
I like this. I like the advice on that.
I mean, I think there's some good points on both sides of it. But I like to solve this problem and, I know there's distractions but I think we all have to admit, we don't know anything about the budget and about finances, none of us. And we had this problem last year and, I think we ought to put in the budget somewhere that we have some expert or some knowledgeable person come in and have a workshop with us or training with us or teach us how to do a budget and get all this, like this audit and this profit sharing or profit loss thing and the budget and kind of say this, VML, maybe they could bring somebody here and say, look, this is how you do a budget. I was talking to a couple of people at government service and they really know about budget. One of the guys just made an aside, I don't think anybody on town council has ever had their own business. You have, but unless you have your own business, you don't know budgets. I mean, there's all kinds of things that come up and they had some really good ideas. And I just think we need to get this together. This is our major, like you said, major responsibility. And this is the second year in a row. We're just scrambling, trying to figure it out that last minute and just kind of present something with, we don't have numbers and we're just projecting and, throwing out things that this might work and this might work. And,
Bill,
we need something in the budget that teaches us how to do this thing.
Bill, we've never had to know in the past.
Well, we had some
Because the
people that knew.
administrator
Right,
had
well,
already
I don't think
put that
Javier knew,
stuff
but
together.
I think Matt did. I don't think Javier knew much more either. Tell you the truth, this is the third administrator, but this
Okay.
last year was a mess too. It was well, everybody, you really remember this last year. We were down to the last minute and we passed it and we didn't, nobody liked it, and we had a special meeting to try to change it and we couldn't do that. And we're doing it again this year, so we need training.
This year, we just got a new budget
I know,
updated.
I know.
And so I'm like, what do we do?
I
Do
know.
we agree to make it, final? I don't think so.
I know, I agree, I think it's really off. I mean, I'd like to bring up something on the budget that's in the budget that might be, that's related to it too, it's about spending. And this is kind of on a different matter altogether, but and this is a thing of mine, and we have this 95,000 for capital improvements, okay? Okay, 87,000 of that is for the levy. That leaves us with 8,000. The last 5 years, we've had almost 100,000 for capital improvements. We can't do capital, and if you go to that capital improvements, we can't do anything with capital improvements for $8,000. We need work on the farmers market, on Canal Basin Square. We need municipal building downstairs. I mean, $8,000 is going to go fast. We need a water fountain at the Canal Basin Square. I mean, $87,000 of that capital improvement.
Just doing water fountain?
Well, yeah, or take it out.
What that one do to the town?
Well, no, it's just it doesn't. No, it's
Drink water?
well, yeah. But no, my point is that there's a lot of capital. We can't run a town with $8,000 to fix things up around here.
We have a water fountain down there.
Okay, well, forget the water fountain.
Well, I do have,
Yeah, for that.
so you said that.
We got $8,000. Take a look at $8,000.
You said on the government services committee, you have some people who are very knowledgeable about budgets and stuff.
And they might work with us.
My next question for you, they're very knowledgeable, the town council would be more than happy to hear them. Why don't you have those members come and talk to the town council members and say, hey.
Would you like that? I'll arrange that. If everybody's okay with that, I can do that.
I mean, they could come up here,
But that's.
we've had all these meetings here, they could have came up here and said, hey, look, this is what we should do, but.
Okay.
All right, yeah. Well, I think we need to go beyond that, just because there's probably like other communities that have people who really know budget. Like Albemarle might,
Great.
like some, Albemarle might give us somebody. We can ask we can ask our supervisor, he's probably getting some.
Thing in the.
Unfortunately, we have here now is,
Because I'm a girl or something.
Yeah.
it's the beginning of June, and this budget needs to be passed before July.
Yeah, I understand.
We don't have that time and luxury now.
Right. But anyway, I'm gonna go back to the capital improvements. Does everybody see what I'm talking about, the capital improvements? We have $8,000 for the whole year next year for capital improvements. And I don't see how we could do anything with $8,000. I mean, if you look at what we have here, the capital improvements is, there's nothing for, for Canal Basin Square, the farmers market, it's nothing. Or the pump station, nothing. There's nothing for municipal buildings. $8,000 isn't, I spend $8,000 on my house a year.
I agree with your general point there, Councilor Heisen, but if you look at the projected end of year, it was $37,500.
Yeah, I would go with that.
But, yeah, I don't think that's gonna be in the budget, but I mean, it's not,
Right. But it's not 8,000.
yeah, I agree with your general points, but I mean.
To go with you, Councilor, on the end of there, we might have a wish list to build Disneyland, but we don't have the money to do so. And when we look at what our town administrator has given us, we start off, as I was trying to do before, our police chief says that's in the budget. It appears that the staff chart, what it costs to pay for our staff, is in the budget. What we're quibbling about are, I'm thankful to the town administrator that she tried to go through. We may agree or disagree with the amounts on various categories, but she's given us a budget where the numbers are close. I do agree with what you're saying, that there's a lot of information we don't have. To some level, we have to rely on you as our town administrator to make sure that you are representing the best of your ability, which I think you are. The revenue and the expenditures. And at the same time, when we look at this, the budgeting process itself isn't actually, I mean, it's, yes, Council Heisen, you could always just train them, but it's not that complicated. This is, we're not, this is not.
Usually this involved.
Yeah,
We're able to do all that.
we're not launching a rocket here. This is simply balancing a few numbers and,
We don't have to
We should get
actually,
paid, actually.
well,
these are just projected numbers.
well, but in any budget is a projection.
No, so you have an actual one right back here. 4 or 5 years ago, we have actual numbers.
Of course, that was what happened then. We're projected, like, it's not just
Guessing.
just so you know, it's not just, it's not 2027 yet.
I know, it's guesswork.
You're advocating for us to just let it go again?
No, I'm not saying we're letting it go. What I'm saying is our town administrator is presenting us with an attempt at getting numbers together. Our job is to debate the numbers, and we can agree or disagree with how she put it together. We're 6 weeks ago, I was highly concerned about where we are. I'm much less concerned at the moment because I see the progress that we've made to try to get them correct. If you go back to what she said, which is true, when she came, it's not hidden to any of us here. We were in a pretty difficult situation trying to resolve areas of mismanagement, areas of things that hadn't been done correctly, and at the same time, there's a learning curve that she has trying to figure out how to use different reports. So that said, we need to make sure, again, and do faith to our community, that if it says revenue here, to the best of our understanding, more or less that's correct. If it says expenditure, more or less it's correct. And I'll say, Councilor Heinsohn, there's a long list on a wish list. This is a bare bones budget, and it needs to be as bare bones as possible, unless we say, okay, fine, we want to take $100,000 out of the Caldwell Fund, which I for one don't. But that we could do that as a town. I appreciate the many different ways that the town administrator and the town clerk have gone through the budget. You see all the red lines on the far right. It's showing you where they've dropped amounts from where it was projected or where they now think it should be. Again, I think it's valid for us to either quibble about a little bit or debate about a lot, but doesn't do us good to. I don't think that's good to throw spears at each other. I think we need to figure out good conscience for the town, how to have a good budget for the town.
Here. Y'all feel pretty good about your revenue. You have any concerns in any particular areas? I mean, I know that sales tax seemed to be one that we still have a question mark about. I asked about the B poll, if we expected it to continue at that rate, but do y'all have any concerns about the revenue in any particular area?
Is that B poll gonna be every year, or is that just 1 year? Is that?
That's what I was just asking.
Yeah, depending on the businesses that we have, come in and the success of them, I'd anticipate that it would improve. I'm also hoping that the B poll, we just got, someone paid their B poll a few days ago, and it was due March 1st. So I'm hoping that the collections will increase or improve over the year.
So it's doubled, but it's doubled since last year, the B poll, basically.
Just went out, and beat
No, it
up.
went down.
Went up, no, went up.
Individual.
Oh, individually went down, but
Individual tax.
it went from 96 to 188.
And that's okay.
You want to
He's
say something?
pretending.
I don't.
So, yeah, I was just gonna ask if you all had an opportunity to go and talk to the businesses that you were collecting taxes from and things like that. Are you guys just doing it all from the office and sending letters to people?
Yes.
Okay,
And I have to pay.
without talking to them at all? I mean,
Well, like telephone conversations?
I've set up a couple meetings with two different vendors. And one of them was very recently that I extended, and she wanted to come in and talk. And I said, sure, that would be great. Gave her dates, you know, what's convenient for you. And I've heard nothing.
but you
So-
haven't gone to their place of business to talk to them.
No,
Well, and a lot of, sometimes it's an accountant we're dealing with. We're not,
I don't think that I have time to go visit every business to say, hey, why aren't you paying your meals tax? Or why aren't you paying your beer costs?
To create relationships with the businesses and to, you know, cultivate that kind of easy exchange.
You know, Chief has suggested that once we get through this, that we have a meeting and invite the Chamber of Commerce and businesses that even aren't within the chamber, to invite them in for a little one-on-one and talk and meet with people to accomplish that very thing. But at this time, I don't think it's a good use of my time to think that I'm going to go to every individual business owner or restaurant and ask about tax collection.
Or it's how things are going, if there's anything you could do to help. I mean, none of that seems.
We have made that perfectly clear in the correspondence to these businesses, saying, come in and we'll work with you to try to get this done. And then they show up, no.
I thought it was part of the job description to cultivate these
Maybe
relationships.
you could be like the previous time, the server just wander the streets all day long, and never do anything in the office.
I don't know what you're talking about, so
Did you know one of those?
I don't know who that is.
You know, those little ones.
anyway.
Over 10 years ago.
Okay.
Well, I
Well,
think,
that was interesting.
I think we're. If I understand, I know we've had chief involved some, I know the mayor's been involved some.
Yeah, and it's caused
some.
problems too. So why are we doing that?
I'm sorry, what
What-
has caused
Hold on,
problems?
hold on. We're trying to resolve the issue of delinquent taxes. And I think in terms of us resolving it, we certainly have done it imperfectly. I do think we all know, and back to y'all over there, we probably talked about this, that we want to make sure we do a better job, whether it's upfront communication or it's letters or whatever. We want to make sure that we use any mechanism we can to communicate our businesses, because we want to flood.
And it's not like I've ever said that she had to do it by herself, that you have to ask for help. So Al and I would have been glad to do it, but I think she'd rather cut off her arm than have me help her. Isn't that right?
All right, let's get back to the real reason we're here.
I have a question about, we talked about revenue, maybe it was already answered, but, you know, from the state. We used to be 100,000, and now this year it's only 66, so is the state really cutting back this year on giving us money?
If they were the governor, it probably is.
Is that what?
It's a grant.
It's a grant. That was a grant from the state? Oh, those
Yeah,
are
so
grants.
it's like not a,
Oh, those weren't even, that wasn't given by the state. Okay, that's great. Okay, that's good. I understand.
So as far as collections, there is a process of collecting money from businesses. And of course, I work with Mr. Bowling. And one of the first things that he has told me to do, which I've done with two other businesses here in town, is to write a letter. And there's the first letter, and then there's a second letter. And the various other things that I've done to put a tax lien on people. So that is the process. And just to let you all know that one of the businesses that we've talked about before and tried to collect, I found out today that we have a court date in a couple weeks to try to get money from that individual person. So the process is not willy-nilly. It is recommended by our town attorney, and that's what I need to do. And that's what I've been doing.
You ever call them on the phones? So the ones who are not the big ones, but the ones who.
They've come into the office before.
So the month or two, I think, that might be what she's talking about, you know, for the big ones, you know, like. They've been like for 6 months, but.
But I mean, also,
Oh,
the chief has been very helpful in approaching the various businesses at my request to ask for the money. And it seems like they'll pay attention more to law enforcement sooner than they would to a town administrator.
I have a question for you all and right there. As you have eyed the budget, what do you see here that we need to address?
You were talking about 5,000.
Well, no, I mean anywhere, any.
Well, revenue, I mean, I wanna make sure that, you know, it seems like we've made some changes on the beat poll and different taxes.
that's still.
And so I wanna make, you know, as long as we got revenue coming in. And then expenses, I don't know what you cut, but I was just gonna ask if it ever had a minute here. Under the flood control and emergency, there's a pump maintenance repair, $5,000. That's not double accounted for with the 87,000, is it, from the county?
No,
That's an additional pump maintenance and repair?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. And that's, I had that conversation.
With Mr. Clark.
Yeah, I seem to recall something. I just want to.
I can tell you exactly what he told me it was if you'd like to know.
No, good enough.
Okay.
It's not double accounting or twice. And I'm just looking for a little bit of money here to close the gap because I don't know bare bones budget what you cut here. I mean, but we're taking care of people's pay. We're taking care of the payroll. We're taking care of the police department and the services to the town. So, and emergency repairs to the levees, those type of things are what we gotta take care of, so. You know. We're doing what we have to.
Yeah, you don't see, in general, when you look at the numbers, nothing jumps out at you as what we're saying.
No, I mean, we also have a year now of experience here, looking at the revenue coming in and seeing what you've spent money on. So you can't go back before you, but you know what you spent. And so you know what you can account for, what you expect to account for in the next year. That's something. Right? And I think you've done a great job beating the tax bushes there to get more revenue and cutting expenses where we could. Because I think there's been some sloppy accounting here with contracts and all that. So good on y'all. Thank you. So maybe you could sell flags and stickers on the 4th of July.
I think there is gonna be vendors doing
Sell all that, you know, your flag, you know, sell merch, town merch, and see if we can get the $5,000.
Welcome to Scottsville.
Original guy was running the egg and heat store up there in the mall.
Yeah.
He had a bunch of Scottsville cups and.
People would buy that stuff.
And change them and do a check for it every
I'm
month.
kidding you not. You could sell the flag and the seal and stickers. You sell some merch.
Let me mention this is back to
Be
you, Council
joking,
Vice.
but sorry.
Council Vice, thank you. So you are not wrong in wanting us to have the opportunity to do lots of repairs.
It's not a lot, it's just
But-
basic ones that we
But
need.
the dilemma is, you have to look on here and find out where would you come up with that money?
Right, exactly.
We don't have it, that's the.
Well,
Real estate tax.
well, one of the things I brought up,
Sorry.
I don't think this year we ought to give a across the board broad goal of 3%, maybe 1 or 2%, but.
Well, I think
We-
that
last-
about 17% this
Well,
year.
last year, yeah, we gave a big raise to the administrator, and last year we gave, if you recall, we gave a 6% raise to the maintenance person. The town clerk threw in or at the last minute,
I
and
think
so
it's gonna work.
that was 6%. And I just think that this year we all need to, you know, make sacrifice and, you know, and take cuts or, you know, remain the same without cost of living. We're all learning on the job, none of them are experienced or knowledgeable about how to do things. So I just think that's, and I heard that a lot of times that happened in the past. People just didn't get raises because of our budget. I mean, I think police are below level, they probably, but even that you can look at. Anyway, that's my feeling. I think you can save money that way too.
I'm not supporting of that.
Councilor, talk about where we could maybe cut back a little bit. One of the things that had popped up for me looking down here, is if you go on and look on the street lighting, it's an $18,000, reference. Maybe we could revisit and make sure that, to me, the town limit is basically from, if you really want to get down to it, from the funeral home down here to the corner down here, from here, about down to the ghost house. Just need to make sure that not every light pole is lit up.
Mhm.
Kind of cut back maybe every other post.
So,
It
Mr.
doesn't have to
Townsend,
be-
I can tell you that I did a lot of research with AEP this week, asking about the 33 light poles. And I asked actually for a map of the locations of them, and they said no. And they basically told me to go get, that they didn't have a map, and that I could do that on my own, and they were not very helpful. But, I have been talking to other people in the town and trying to figure out like what the identifiers were. And so I found out that there's a little yellow sticker and that tells you exactly which lamp is which, but there are 33 that the town pays for, and they're like high quality LED. I didn't know if we could downgrade the size, I didn't know. But anyway, so I actually started looking into those figures because the street lighting is a big cost.
Well, yeah, I mean, like, for example, I don't see where the town would need to be responsible for paying for a light that might be somewhere, let's say, in the vicinity of CNS Motors.
Right. So that's what I'm saying too.
Well,
So I've got a map exactly where they are, but I do think generally speaking, they go down Valley and then there are some on East Main.
Well, and we are.
And not, one of you doesn't pay for it?
The town pays.
They do.
There's actually two in front of my house. They haven't been working for over 6 months.
So the other thing is AEP is trying to update those.
We're not gonna have that redone.
Right,
But see, that was just not really a street light. That's
Awful.
right. So anyway, I started looking into those things.
street light, and as Elizabeth said earlier, she was checking into the thing about the updating the phone, or whatever.
Yes.
Mhm.
It's so
The
crazy.
phones and the internet, that can save us quite a bit of money, right?
What I was gonna say, again, going back to the budget, would be. I don't think it's perfect, but I do think we're close to getting to where we need to be. I do agree with you, Councilor Whitley, I would not decrease on the salary level of people. I do think if we did anything, I think, I think you had this concept of something like lights or area, if we have to take a little bit out, it would be in something that is optional. I'm not saying it needs to be lights, but we're close. I think we should focus on this. I think going back to Councilman Vine, you're correct that there are things that are missing. We don't see, we do need an accounting as the staff continues to uncover things from the past. Some of those things we need to know as town councils, and we also would be good to know as they're resolved, because I think what you're somewhat saying is it decreases the confidence you have in numbers.
Yeah,
And so,
yeah, it's broken from last year's budget is not off the edge. I mean, that's gonna give us a little good idea of where we need to be, but I think we've shown that a lot of these numbers are probably too high or too low, and I don't know whether we went over budget last year or under budget, that kind of thing. It just, yeah, it would have raised my confidence.
well, and so coming back to your point, I think that. So we're in June, by the end of this month, we have to have there has to be a budget for next year. I can guarantee we won't have all that information in terms of all that being resolved. I do think your insistence on getting it more is a good thing. If we wanna.
Well, and if we go with, Counselor, you, Townsend, sorry about that. If we go with his suggestion of going to a quarterly system, we can kind of continue to work each quarter on making sure where we are in relation to last year. So I'm really, I think that's a wonderful suggestion, especially given the situation we're in. I got feedback from other people who had said that last year's budget was really rushed and thrown through. I don't know if that's true or not, it wasn't here,
You're right.
but I hate to do that 2 years in a row. But there's nothing we can do. I'm just saying that, you know, I'm really disappointed. And I'm not gonna hold back on saying that. So, but anyway, I mean, I was gonna be choice, so you go.
Well, thank you.
Uh-huh.
So I think coming back to the town staff, as you have uncovered things, it's helpful to know, I don't need to know this moment, but as you figure out what you're figuring out from some of those things that were either delinquent or surprise, and that's like this call that you just had. On the other hand, I think in good faith, I would say to each one of us up here, this is close to something we can support, or at least I can support. And I just want to make sure that staff is covered, it's reasonable, we can't pay for everything we want to. We all agree that we want to be finding better ways to communicate with the town businesses. And from what you said, the mayor said, what the staff said. But at the same time, we gotta pass the budget. The budget has to make sense. And it's close to making sense either. Mr. Mayor, do you have anything to add to where we are?
No, other than, it's what reapportionment's all about. If you, coming up short where you need it, and you're got some in another category that you haven't used, you can vote to move it over, move the money over where it's needed. The other thing is, I don't know if Mr. Hyson understood the $15,000 pump station rehab. That's not gonna happen every year.
Yeah, that's fine, and that's fine, but still, $8,000 per outlet.
And the, there was a flood control expense that, I don't know if you remember or not, it was a new pump. New generator. And the Ready superintendent just got it on his own, and it's still $1,000. So, you know, they don't, when things like that happen,
when this was changed from this to this, some things were lost, and I went through it, and a couple of things I want to point out that were lost that I think we need to consider. One is, for the capital improvements, there was an entrance sign corridor, entrance corridor sign, and that's not in here at all, and we need an entrance corridor sign. That thing's at the bank there, been there, and we got the sign. It's gonna cost some money to put it together. The other thing that's lost in this one compared to this one was the Bowers Fund, was a donation. And the Bowers, you know, if we're not gonna use that donation, we can't just throw it in the general pot and paper, office paper. It needs to be returned to them. They gave out $5,000.
It's a donation.
Yeah, but it's for a specific thing. It's a donation. It's not a
I give
donation.
$20 a head, buddy, how about it? I'm not gonna sit there and give you $20, so you can only buy a soda with them.
That's what it's about. That's what the donation's about.
Donation.
Look at Bruce Park, look at Doria Park, look at Van Fleet. Those are specific donations for a cause. You give a donation, you give it for a cause, and you put that in there. And I think if we want people to donate to our town, we can't screw them over. If the Bowers got screwed, basically, and that's not right.
Well, what happened to the money?
I don't know, it's not in here. Is it this one? It's not in this one.
Okay, so we've had some transactions.
Elizabeth, I have a question. Follow what the mayor said earlier, with the new program that you and Whitney are using. Are you able to, in the future, for each monthly meeting, be able to show us the finances and percentage at that time as you was? Are you
Yes,
able to do that?
yes. Once the
Okay, so-
reconciliation is done, then we can do that. And the budget will even be done that way.
I was just wondering, I just want to make sure it wasn't, we went to a program that you're not unable to do that with.
Right.
Mm-mm.
And actually, I met with the GSC with Mr. Stott's Reel today, and we were talking about the limitations of the Excel spreadsheet, and
Yeah.
we all know the formula issues, but so I was telling him that we did have QuickBooks, and that's what I wanted to do the budget on, and he was saying, well, you know, he made some good suggestions, percentage, a column that he had added that I want to add to mine as well. But he also said, you know, you can do it in QuickBooks, and then for those of us that want the Excel spreadsheet, you know, you can provide it as a spreadsheet. I know I can do a PDF, but so
Yeah, and one of the things he said, you don't have to do the whole year, you can just do 3 quarters.
right,
Mhm.
right.
And I think that would be valuable, because then we would have a ballpark of what we have, and if you do
Right.
3 quarters, you could get some actual data.
Yeah, he had suggested to put in the a column
Yeah.
that shows, you know, every
I definitely
quarter.
might like to do
And
something.
and we said that we would bring it up, you know, and see if you all, as a whole, would like to see that. I think that's what I'm hearing, is that you all would like to see. And I wish I could provide that now, but I would like to provide that as well.
Sorry, did not mean to interrupt you, but I am gonna say this, it's sort of like, since I was here last year. We are exactly where we were last year, so if you wanna say we were late last year, we're very late this year, just so there's nobody surprised.
Make me feel less better.
So, yeah, well,
We screwed up last year, we screwed up this year.
hopefully that makes you feel worse, so to speak. So in other words, if we were late last year, which we were, we are very late now. In other words,
Yes.
we are, it's the 4th quarter of the football game. And we have to,
Hail Mary.
no, we don't need a Hail Mary, we're close here, we just need to hold on to football. So,
Do we have an outline of the schedule for the budget so that at least Elizabeth knows?
well,
What are you talking about? Well, not like those two.
Like in December, we should be
Oh,
starting to.
yeah,
look at
right,
this.
yeah, that'd be great, that'd be.
I know.
That was right, that passed this mid-year, we analyzed the budget again, and then we say we're deficient in one area, and we're over in another, and make adjustments to the budget.
Yeah.
and just so I say this, I wasn't saying it to blame it, I'm not, you can blame me if you want, say it's my fault, but no, I'm just saying that. It's the 4th quarter of the football game. We, late in the football game, we were in the same, we sort of ended up in the same place last year. So at this point. We may have a lot of things we like, we gotta have a budget that works, so what happens in the real world for us? At some point in the next week or two. We have to finalize the budget. We have to announce a public meeting. We have the public meeting, and then we vote on it. And we hopefully approve it at that point, so we need to tonight or next week. We need to make sure we are in agreement, even if we hate this as much as we hate, I don't know, chewing sand, whatever.
The sad thing is, if
I don't mind.
the people that owe us the taxes, pay the taxes, we have a $40,000 surplus.
That's right. That's exactly right.
So,
And that's only with 2 restaurants and meals taxes.
got two meal places that owe us a total of $45,000.
So if we can get this budget passed, then our next order of business, after we move forward, start working on the collection.
What else? Yes, what else do you all see in here? On the revenue or expenditure bills that we need to adjust?
Well, I mentioned expenditures, there's an item here that's been zero, it's town planning, I do think we need some money for town planning. And budget planning, and it's been zero, and used to have, for town planning, used to have, well, of course, we had 10,000, 130,000, but it'd be good to get some actual planning for the budget. In a, like I said, a workshop or a training or you know. And maybe we won't need any money if we could get somebody from the county or somebody who knows what they're doing, but I just feel like we can't go doing this every year like this. It's just, for me, it's very stressful, and I think for the public too.
So is
I think
that
we need to
what
fix
the
it.
planning was for in the past?
Pardon?
I was just asking about the money that you're talking about.
Well, it could be, we could put money in there for town planning, it's for anything, it's workshops or, you know.
Okay.
But
Okay.
I think it would be good since we're scrambling with this whole budget thing, and there's people out there who could probably lead us and guide us.
One thing I will say, Councilor Madison, I do not object to July, August sometime if we want to have a budget seminar, that's sure, that's fine. I would say it's your responsibility, my responsibility, that we should have done that 3 years ago. So in other words, so
Never too late.
at this point, if somebody were coming to me on the
Right.
council and say,
Yeah.
you don't want to do a budget. What the hell are you doing here, so to speak? So all I'm gonna say is at this point, we have to do the budget and make it work, and we don't have time to do a wish list. At this point, I'm sort of simply asking, do you see anything on here that we need to adjust?
Well, I mentioned capital improvement. So I think that needs to be in there.
What do we have to leave here with tonight?
We need to.
Nothing.
Resign.
Okay,
Here's,
so we've sharpened this marshmallow some more.
I'm not trying to be close to
And so
All right,
we're
here's.
still
the-
discussing it when we show up next week
Yeah,
for the work session.
yeah.
Oh, yes, next week.
Councilman Heisen, I'll work on getting someone that can come in after the budget is approved,
Yeah,
and maybe
I can-
make it where if council want to come, then you can come. If you're,
Volunteer class.
if you're good and you don't want to come, then you don't have to come, but I
We
will
all
work
should be
on,
there.
well, I'll just work
My,
on something.
my one recommendation would be if we did anything going back to the staff. This is often what we would do in each budget process, we'd say, hey, staff, can you make up this tweak? My suggestion at this point would be, can you look in here, is there any way we could, whether it's increasing revenue or it's decreasing expenditures, can we balance the budget? So that would be my request, when we come back next week, we can show us how we, that if we can. If we have a budget that balances, I think we're close.
That sounds good.
Do we have any reason to think that there are gonna be changes to this budget to the next week?
Massive changes or just tweaks?
Oh, few.
Well, I don't know. I'm
I mean,
not.
it's gonna
I
tweak.
hope it's going to be a tweak, and I hope it's going to be revenue that I hear positively from Albemarle County. How much taxes pass through the state government.
That's making changes.
Yeah, so there aren't gonna be any plant yet. I think that's what this is supposed to be.
But
pretty
yes, if
solid.
there's a tweak or something, you told us about what had changed about this
Right.
one here. And I just was curious.
Yes, and thank you, Elizabeth, for having all the numbers on the far right that show the changes, that
Mhm.
the pluses and minuses, it's helpful to see.
If y'all want to put this on your calendars, here's the deal. Next Monday, the 8th, is our work session. We'll finish up on this budget thing before we go home. The Monday after that, 15th, we'll have a public hearing.
It'll be voted on.
And then on the public hearing, just sit down with some people, we're not gonna be voting on anything. So
Oh, okay, we got
it'll be, only thing we'll vote on
3 more.
Well, they
is.
get presented, but they see the budget. They
Yes,
see
and
the
the only thing we'll vote on that night, the 15th, after the public hearing, is we will vote to send this forward
To the council.
for the council to approve or not approve on the 22nd.
Okay,
So,
so that's the schedule.
and town clerk is gonna give the two main dates, on the second. Published tomorrow, so there's no possibility of not getting proper days notices.
Okay, So the notice for the 22nd is going to be for, it's not a public hearing, or is it still?
That's the regular town councils.
Yeah, so the notice is just gonna say that that's when the town is going to vote on the budget.
15th is public hearing.
Yep, and then the 22nd is the,
22nd, council meeting, we will vote whether to approve the budget or not.
Which, what that means then is next week, we have to make sure, we can't leave until we've agreed on it. Yeah.
Anything else you want to do on this tonight? I heard we've done it.
I just want to point out one thing. I know it was brought up before, the flood control reserve. This is under capital improvements. The flood control reserve and the pump station rehab previously had shown 3,000 and 15,000. I talked back with Mr. Carr again because I wanted to make sure that those expenses weren't being repeated underneath that. And he said that he was not familiar with those figures at all. So I took them out.
Be the one now.
yep,
Yes.
he's the professional.
I think that's what Councilor Andrew is saying, so there are some numbers in there that we probably can read it.
Put it in there, just a little bit of money to side.
Mm-hmm.
Cool, no, but it's just maybe.
All right.
Anything else on the staff?
I just want to go back to.
No, sir.
I'd like to see in the, like, the next budget we have is the Bowers money. And also, the entrance corridor sign. I mean, there's a lot of capital improvement things, but I think that's a real key one, what we need to. Just maybe move some money around from other capital improvements, but we need that. I think we need that. That's terrible. Go by the bank up there and see those little empty poles hanging out.
That entrance sign is actually supposed to be paid for by
Like
structural
insurance,
steel.
right?
Yeah,
Yes.
okay. Can we get that done now? I mean, it's been over a year.
Insurance company don't worry about
That's
that.
Nancy, I think she was bringing them up.
We pushed on that, though. Your car was, you didn't done.
Anything else?
No, sir.
Anything else from there?
The one other thing I will mention, Mr. Mayor, this is just, I've said this, I shared this one other time, but it seems like it's happening. I have been part of a group of people that's coordinating things in different towns, but this has to do with 3 o'clock, we're gonna do if anybody.
A
wants
reading.
Reading of the Declaration, and it might happen on the main stage also. But anyways, I'll tell you more about it, but. Whitney, you're excited about that.
Hi, yes, sir.
Talk to you from the staff.
Oh, sure.
Okay, anything else?
I'll make a motion to close.
And is second,
Second.
all in favor?
I'll do you.
All in favor?
Townsend and
Townsend and, who
Whitley.
seconded? And Whitley. Okay.
Walter Townsend, Roger Whitley.
Oh, after that.
I forgot, I didn't realize, I thought I was gonna get a Monday off. Good, how are you?
What
Fire,
time?
fire, fire.
Hold on.
What? Oh, we're moving